Hello, friends. This is Craig Pera, and you are listening to Sex Afflictions and Porn Addictions, a podcast, a video, a recording, whatever, to help you create healthy sexuality in your life and live the best life that you possibly can. It's nice to be back. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, and the truth is I haven't been feeling well. I have not been feeling well. I've had a bladder problem. I don't want to get into too many details, not because it's a secret, but because there's just a lot of things that I want to talk about. Harvey Weinstein is really gotten me doing some deep reflection and soul searching and bringing things up. And so I really want to talk about that. But anyway, I'm doing the things that I need to do to stay healthy, to stay ahead of those physical challenges. And maybe I was a couple of days late in jumping in and going to the doctor. But anyway, I did what I needed to do. On the mend, feeling better. I am back. Hello. And so what's going on in the news? Harvey Weinstein, massive institution in Hollywood, has been accused by 17, 18, 19 women of inappropriate behavior, sexual harassment, all the way to sexual assault. And, he's saying that it was all consensual, and he wants to be given a second chance. So I'm looking at his quote today. Said we all make mistakes, and so I'm not going to detail the allegations. You can read about them. But I guess when I first read that article, it forced me to look in the mirror and remember the women in the copy room. The women in the copy room when I was a licensed attorney. And I did I exploit that power dynamic? The answer is unequivocally yes. Did I sexually harass? The answer is unequivocally yes. Did I objectify? Unequivocally yes. I guess I just had to say that, had to put that out there. And it's hard to say. So many things are going through my head. But I've done those things. And all with a smile, all with, positive intentions, all with helping people. But did I, exploit that power dynamic, that differential? Yeah, I did. And I guess, I'm asking you, my brothers with power, my brothers with authority, what is this story saying to you about you? What does it say about manhood? What does it say about masculinity? Right? I mean, this is the golden dream, right? I mean, you get rich, you have women, you hit on women. Women like it when you hit on them. You become significant. Napoleon Hill calls that sexual drive one of the most powerful drives in us, that drive to reproduce, to mate. Right? Powerful drive, our innate wiring for variety, which is why porn is so appealing. And here's the epitome of power. Guys whipping out his dick, jerking off in front of people. Fuck that shit. Look at it. Like, I'm the king, motherfucker. And think about that power. When you think of that word power, right? Doesn't that imply some kind of subservience? And so it's just got me thinking a lot about how I've conducted myself in the past and the future of the American male. You know, what does he look like? What does he look like? And, you know, there's hypersexual, right? That's been part of our culture, you know, hit it and quit it, you know, get it. How many are numbers? Like these things are ingrained in us as men, right? And the catcalling, the objectification of women, these things are ingrained in us as boys. And, you know, here's someone at the pinnacle, and you wait. There is a lot of women right now feeling empowered, like this. You know, you can feel the energy of women saying, "I am not going to suffer this in silence." And using the power dynamic to exploit consent. That's something else I want to talk about, right? What is consent? Right? When we think of sexual behavior, sexual attitudes, sexual, you know, we want that to be consensual. What can manipulate consent? Power dynamic, employment status, age. Those things can blur consent, can cloud it, can exploit it and expressly violate it. There's a spectrum. And so you got this super rich guy and just doing what, you know, culture and the movies and the media like wanted him to do, expected of him, to objectify women. Look in our advertising, look at our marketing, look in our pornography, right? And so what does the evolution of man look like? And I think that seeing someone at the pinnacle, at the top, being brought down for violating, exploiting that power dynamic and violating that consent. If this behavior was consensual, there wouldn't be the problem. Right? He gets his freak on. This is what he does. And as he's open and honest about it, and his wife's okay with it, he's okay. He's okay. But that clearly wasn't the case. You're seeing case after case of you know, cases where consent was blurred and allegations of that consent being expressly violated. You know, here's his response, right? You can hear the lawyers in it now. There were never any acts of retaliation against any woman for refusing his advances. Well, it certainly couldn't have helped their opportunities, could it? Right? She rejected me. She had the audacity to reject me as I stood there and masturbated in front of her or touched her when I wasn't given permission to. The audacity to say no. That certainly must have helped. And considering and think of all the incredible you know, women whose projects died because of this. What would have been born from if Harvey Weinstein was a sexually evolved man of integrity? You know, what would be out there? You know, interesting to think about. But he believes that all of these relationships were consensual. He has begun counseling. He has listened to the community. That I thought was interesting, and is pursuing a better path. He's hoping that if he makes enough progress, he will be given a second chance. Yeah, think of what that karmic deposit needs to be for him to make up for that. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this unfolds. And and for you guys who are listening, like, do unto others. Think about and ask yourself the hard questions. Are you exploiting your position of authority? Are you using that power with kindness and love for a profit motive? That's okay. That's cool. No one's saying don't do that. But is there honesty and integrity in how you treat women and how you see women and how you view them, and what think about what sexual jokes you have made in the workplace? Because here's just an interesting rule of thumb. Do you know what sexual humor is actually appropriate under the law, that where you wouldn't find yourself in trouble? None. Zero. There isn't any. There is just like never, no place should there ever be sexual comments in the workplace. Of course, unless you're in Hollywood and you're working around those situations, right? Really fascinating dynamic there, because think of the writers in the room creating shows where these things are being portrayed on camera, right? So it's a crazy place. It's a crazy place. I've got to learn a teeny tiny bit about it, but there's a joke around the casting couch, right? What did you do to get that place? And it completely undermines the integrity of what women have accomplished. So, I think this forces us as men to look in the mirror. Maybe you have a little Harvey in you. I have some in me, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm just being honest about it. And I want to understand that part of me. I want to recognize where I am projecting or oogling and objectifying and sexualizing. And and I think the word that I frame, the word that I like, is consent. Being an abuse survivor, and there's something about consent, what you consent to in your body. And I noticed I would violate my own consent when I would push my body to do things that cause lasting pain. Yoga has taught me to engage in consent with my body, to do things that it consents to do. Really had a deep impact. And so when I think about oogling or objectifying or sexualizing someone else, I think of that word consent. That person, that human being, that soul, that person who may loves the same TV shows I do, that honors and respects family, that loves puppies, did not consent to me taking that visual and exploiting it. So I think the word consent is a really relevant one, and to reflect, in your life where you've blurred that consent, how you've clouded the consent, how you've manipulated consent with your, in the pursuit of sex, in the pursuit of significance, where have you manipulated consent, and how? How have you manipulated that power dynamic? Yeah, I think it's a really important time to look in the mirror. That's what I'm doing, looking in the mirror and like thinking about what is the evolved man look like. And I think the evolved man finds strength in vulnerability, right? The putting up the walls is the easy part. It's the taking them down and exposing ourselves that's the hard part. And having a responsible, a moral, ethical, green sexuality that honors and respects all people in a dignified, compassionate, loving way. And here's like my biggest criticism of pornography: there's no love in porn. There's no love in it. And now there are fringes on the side. Yes, I'm talking your mainstream, right? There's no love there. And where love is not, what is, what's there in its place. And so just want to put that out there for you guys to think about, and look forward to continuing to having these conversations. Thank you so much for listening. It's such a privilege to be here. And again, something like this happens. Look in the mirror. What about this story can you connect with? Not what reviles you, but if there is that instant revulsion, ask yourself why. Right? There's something about being a type A successful guy that engages in these kinds of behaviors. And I know a lot of you are. And what does it say about us? And where's the opportunity to grow? And where's the opportunity to evolve and to use this, and to use, Anthony Weiner? Like, come on, man. Like, this guy is broken. He needed help a long time ago, and he didn't get the right help. And what I mean by that, brothers, is I don't care where you go, whatever you do, but your end place, your destination has to be healthy sexuality and what that means for you. It has to be a great life, a life where you're firing on all cylinders, embracing all the gifts that life has to offer, working through your challenges, being the best version of you, right? You got to do it. May as well do it right. And healthy sexuality. And I think issues like this in the news with Harvey Weinstein and Anthony Weiner give us an opportunity as men to reflect, and an opportunity for women. And because this must be a very empowering moment from women. I'd love to hear what you think, because I know I've got some women who listen who just saying enough is enough. Like, I am not keeping this a secret anymore. Like, this boorish, this douchebag, this asshole-like behavior, but calling it out for what it is. And no, you cannot exploit that power dynamic with me. It's not right. And in the workplace, it's illegal, as well it should be. So anyway, thank you guys. Embrace your power of choice. Life is too short to suck. If you are acting like Anthony Weiner, if you are acting like, and you connect with Harvey and you want to make some radical change, I've got a dynamic program, a group online, powerful, with some amazing coaches, amazing support, 7 group coaching calls per week right now that we do, including mindfulness training, including the entire mindful habit system, rooted in the science of habits, mindfulness, and success, moving you to a place, not running away from something. To break a habit, you have to make a habit. So check it out, and you get lifetime access too. This is what I realized, guys, is this part of us is so powerful, and you need to bring attention to what it is you want to accomplish. So men who are in the program long-term and have that long-term access do best. It's part of their infrastructure. Participating on a group call, for example, is part of their infrastructure. So that's why we made it lifetime access, which is, my lifetime. So anyway, check it out on the website, themindfulhabit.com. Thank you so much for listening, and catch you later. Bye-bye.